Heidi is captivated by the act of painting women, not just as subjects, but as complex beings. These works are a mix of her mother, her sisters, and the women she knows. A deliberate challenge to the long-standing eroticized gaze that has often defined female representation. Her paintings aren't trying to portray the female body in a traditional or realistic way. Instead, she intentionally distorts it or abstracts it to prevent it from being easily read or objectified. For the artist, abstraction becomes a form of refusal, guarding the female form from the grasp of figuration and the entitled gaze that often accompanies it. It becomes a way to shift the narrative, to tell a different story about femininity that resists the familiar, often limiting representations. The palette is subtle yet surprising, with touches of the artist's favorite color, orange. Clothed not to showcase fashion, but to offer a surface for paint to speak, to move past skin and into something more interior. Heidi builds her paintings through a slow, intuitive process that involves carefully pouring layers of paint onto the canvas. She describes it as almost psychic. You have to anticipate what the painting will need several steps ahead. The process is physical and fluid, with a strong focus on the sensuality of the paint itself, allowing each layer to guide the next. More than just a title, Not Your Woman is a political swipe and a personal protest. In an interview, Heidi reflected on the phrase, "The future is female," a promise that now feels lost, especially in today's America. Not your woman is not a slogan, but a snarl. It belongs to the woman who no longer wishes to be loved, interpreted, or even understood. As Heidi puts it, I do have an inherent sense of who I am, how I exist in the world, and what I deserve. Henry is clear-eyed about how saturated the art world is. He doesn't seem to be interested in being purely conceptual. Instead, he works through narrative. He paints because stories, confusion, and contradictions compel him. The artist has referred to his paintings as disastrous fantasies. Each painting, he says, is a world of its own, often made in reaction to the last. The title of the show, Rome is No Longer in Rome, is a reflection on change, distance, and how things we once thought were stable, like culture, home, or even identity, become harder to hold on to. Henry seems to be asking, how do we carry all these influences, emotions, and histories forward when none of them fit neatly? A key part of this exhibition is also on the floor, a series of large wool rugs that the artist hand-dyed, painted, and drew on himself. These aren't meant to be preserved or admired from a distance. They're meant to be walked on. The brushwork is expressive but deliberate. As the artist puts it, people are looking for meaning in the stroke, so we must give every stroke as much meaning and purpose as possible. The artist seems to be trying to make sense of a world that no longer feels grounded. I think there's something poetic, even funny about the way these figures move through their strange environments. This exhibition brings together two artists. Though they lived and worked in different contexts, both artists share a rare gift, the ability to distill experience into forms that feel both pared down and quietly amplified. As the gallery notes, they revel in simple things, yet that simplicity is deceptive. Surreal shapes and abstract forms come together in ways that quietly defy logic. We're left questioning where we are. A cloud hangs too heavy. Shapes drift as though unmoored from gravity. In Salvo's works, small towns feel serene and timeless. Buildings glow softly as if lit from within. Time feels suspended, like the last frame of a dream before waking. This show highlights how both artists use paint not just to depict, but to subtly shift how we see. Salvo's works rarely depict people, though human presence is always suggested. Through architecture, through light, through the hour of the day. Since the 1980s, this artist has painted and constructed his way through the familiar, dismantling its comforts. He works with humor and irony, though it's the kind that raises an eyebrow rather than a laugh. As the gallery observes, both artists collapse foreground and background, flattening space in ways that stretch it inward into something psychological. But what links them most is a shared belief in painting itself, not as commentary, but as transformation. In an era when many abandoned the medium, these artists looked harder. They pressed pigment into atmosphere, line into suggestion. The American home isn't just about where we live. It's about who gets to feel safe, seen, and loved there. These paintings may seem like something out of a well-pressed, mid-century American dream. Elegant interiors, bright colors, domestic scenes. But these aren't just nostalgic portraits of the past. They're reimagining. Scott draws from the polished world of vintage interior design magazines, aspirational images of the ideal American household. But his version of home tells a different story. It's the story of families kept outside the picket fence, of lives and identities left out of polite living rooms. This work brings together many of the artist's key themes: heritage, memory, and healing. It symbolizes a connection to lost roots, blending the spirit of Mexico, the desert landscape, and traces of European influence in his family. In Los Angeles, Scott's own family was denied property ownership due to redlining in the 1950s. Later, after coming out as queer, he experienced rejection and housing instability. It took him 20 years to complete his education, but through it all, art remained his compass. In this work, an empty bed gestures towards absence and longing. But more than that, it's a tribute to love and partnership, and how deeply our sense of home is tied to the people we share it with. Throughout this exhibition, the home becomes more than just a backdrop. As the artist puts it, his paintings are acts of forgiveness, healing, and redemption. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you again